지금 못 가나 하면 어떤 길도 삼지 상내를 길도 재미를 그래나 야
It's not pretty.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
제대 कर्मचारी ngaje nyane kudu shudo 도착해요.
Nam
문제는 거기 화살의 시민, 기랑, 제, 낙주 마선당, 지금 이동 제외, 외초, 가순, 편향을 우라, 시보 제대, 외심, 고외, 두책기, 민만, 대를.
소대 빠지에 먹은 독지 기회가 따로 나디자 의스탄의 용도 용랑 마셔비 작을 친시고 내를 변한 남방 먹고 써주는다 마게 로가 먹고 써주 김제 자각하기 산산반 내보러 작은 누주는 게지 보라 제기 숨마 또나 먹고 전조 제바 제기 권에 변을 작을 대시 망실기 써주시고 교육 된다 변한 세계 5권하고 육준기 시골을 가 하나 시민 중간사면 재산내가 때 변민나 우주 탑세 교대 지금 이번 권의 손 봐봐 변민 63호기 강를 몇세 땅이 민주 전쟁 중기였지 공사초가 다시 안에 설치 내군 일이
They have some other demonstration also. I don't know. Lot of people. There is something happening.
विद्यार्थीहरू पढाइ हुन्छ नि के अरे हो विद्यार्थीहरू कहाँ जानुपर्छ स्टुडेन्ट पढाइ
Yeah. Yeah. This demonstration.
Message of the 10th March.
Yeah. Today.
Today, the 10th March is actually the 1959 Tibet is occupied by China. And especially here in Nepal, the Tibetans are not allowed to gather, and we are not allowed to protest any kind of activities in Nepal. That is the one China policy followed by the Nepalese government strictly. But the Nepalese government is a kind of a secular nation which follows the 1999 UN resolution of human rights, freedom in Nepal. Also they considered, but recently the Chinese government almost pressured here in the Nepalese government, and the Tibetans here in Nepal, their life is so difficult that almost seems like same, which I feel like the condition over there in Tibet is almost same. That the feeling is same over here in Nepal also. That is fact.
Yeah.
Not only the occasionals. In day-to-day life of the Tibetans in here is also very strictly, we are not allowed to just freely the way we feel, actually wants our desire. The Tibetans actually here in the Nepal, almost 20,000 Tibetans lives here, but the youngsters who born here in the Nepal citizen, Nepal country, they don't have refugee cards. Actually, the Nepalese considered Tibetans as a refugee people, they almost, they just almost they took the, followed the refugee facilities to the, by the Nepalese government to the Tibetans under the UN resolutions. Now the 10th March over here, the Tibetan situation, the yesterday also the meetings that I heard from my friends, colleagues, they're just saying the Tibetan representative here actually would take a permission to take gathering over here in 10th March, and the Nepalese government told them not to protest any kind of activities in 10th March. So actually the leaders, the representatives, they just take they're told we will not allow to press in the Nepalese soil. So actually if we are normally before this Maoist government came, the Tibetans are allowed to gather here in every places, and we have almost all the facilities and almost rights that we just actually want. But recently the Nepalese government is following the one China policy that is very much strictly they followed, and recently the Chinese ambassador over here in Hu Yalan, who is yesterday he comment to the national Nepalese prime minister and the cabinets. He just actually organized a meeting to announce that the people in Tibetans living over here are not allowed to protest. So Nepalese government should facilitate the huge armies around the border places and Swampu and the places where the Tibetan settlements were settled there. So that means now the Nepalese government is almost trying to go back to the military kind of a state. This is the policy, one China policy of China, that China wants that his neighboring countries should be ruled by the military controls. This is their policy. So that's all.
So you think that after the Maoist revolution, the situation gets worse for Tibetans?
The one thing which whether the Maoist government or the Congress or any democratic country, they just if come to the government, they just took the government. The Maoist, what I felt is the Maoist, the main ideology of that is the communism, communist. The communist is a totally ideology of the Mao Zedong's. That Mao Zedong's ideology is not something that kind of looking for the people's welfare. The Mao's ideology is totally talking about the economical boost of the nation. So that means the prosperity of the people is very difficult, and the economy may be possible, will be developed. In here also, Nepal is developing so fast recently, just after the Chinese support. But the people's living day-to-day life, living over here is very difficult for the people, normal people also, in the food and everything and else things. So that means the Nepalese government is still the Mao's. If the Mao's will just take control over the government, then the future is unsure for all the citizens over here, because there's no kind of a freedom of expression. The Tibetans over here they don't have any kind of a freedom of expression. That is the main problem. So we are afraid that if the Maoists once came into the government, then what will happen to the Tibetan peoples living over here? That is that we cannot calculate. Not yet.
But this is in the middle of Kathmandu. They don't want to close this.
But once the government is controlled by the military, then suppose like in any occasion, 10th March, His Holiness birthday, and those big occasions, all the monasteries are almost patrolling by the Nepalese police every time, wherever you go, this time. Especially 10th March over here, from Resuva to the main Tibetan borders, the armies are deployed over there. Because of the Tibetans living in Tibet comes to this place, and then they will protest. This is scaring, they're just afraid of these things. So the monastery over here and those in Nepal, once the most will come up, or the government, whoever that runs the government, under the gun, if you have a right, if you have a fact, and if you have a truth, you will not do anything because you are under the gun. So that means people are in so much pressure. That's we cannot say even if I'm doing good. If somebody's just throwing on my head gun, then I cannot just go because I have to accept my things.
Yeah.
So that is the option, still over here. That is this, right?
Well, what kind of difficulties Tibetan students have here?
The difficulties of a student in here, normally, they want to join any kind of college. They want to join in the private organization if they want to do some kind of a job that they like. But the first requirement of any kind of, if we are going into applying for the job or any kind of scholarship or any kind, the Tibetans have a first kind, the Nepalese government demands for the citizenship. So the people, the students who were born over here, they don't have these refugee cards. So that means their professional, their career, and all these things are waste. So the many people, many students after +2 or some few years in college, then they just drop out. So that means people are the students over the students, and the people of the people who are living over here, the life is very difficult for them. For the world, is just taking the individually, we just need to reduce the consumption of natural resources. If you try to, the natural resource means almost 1/3 of the countries are using the made in China goods. So if you try to reduce the consumption of Chinese goods, then it may be possible that the future of our kids, they will enjoy the natural resource of this world. So once we try to reduce the consumption of the the Chinese goods, then the Chinese occupation over the smaller country will be reduced. Also, they will just get out, and the leaders of the different nations, they should initiate to take they should teach the people to educate them the human rights, the values of human rights. They should teach them the basic values of the human rights in every country. If they've tried to initiate, then people will gradually understand the values of the human rights, and is talking about the compassion. That then a society will be, I think, will be better in anything. That is my message.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sonam Tunduk. I'm 30 years old. I live in Nepal for almost 15 years now, and I'm a teacher in the nunnery, one of a Mahayana Buddhist dialect here in Nepal. I'm a teacher. Thank you so much.
And